Today, we're building a motorcycle helmet shelf and a place to hang all our gear and keep all our junk organized. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for coming back to Tuxedo Mafia here. If you are a returning person, thank you very, very much for making it through the first video. That one was a bit rough. Today's going to be a little bit easier because we're going to be a little bit more how-to and hands-on. So we're going to slap the GoPro on the old noggin there, and we'll do these sort of things. So now, if you're like me, and you live on the West Coast here in British Columbia and everything else like that, real estate is really expensive. And most of us live in what we call a glorified closet, especially if you live in downtown Vancouver. I'm just out in the valley, so we're fortunate enough to have a little townhouse. But again, a townhouse, people, bikes, gears, everything else, takes up a lot of room. So we're a little bit limited. And so the other thing too that I want to point out is that anybody can do this. We'll show you how to do this with either basic hand tools, or you can do it with advanced stuff. Everything's going to be available at your local Home Depot or Rona or whatever you want to go. Yeah, so let's dive into it. Okay, as you can see, we have a little bit of organization going on here. Okay, so before we really get going, this is my first how-to video, so it's long. But through the world of editing and everything else like that, I'm going to chop it up and just give you the essential parts. The other most important thing that I need to talk to you about is my angle. So at first, when you're watching the video, we're looking at a 45-degree angle. I talk about softening it up to about a 30-degree angle. In actuality, it works out to be about 22.5 degrees. Otherwise, the helmets just want to go boop. So keep that in mind. I will try to put some notes and everything else as we go. And yeah, let's get into it. Okay, and we're back. So what I've done was I've taken out an old helmet here so I get an idea, because I'm going to build this shelf with 4 helmets in mind. And I'm going to need to be about 42 inches or so long. I'm going to make it just a little bit longer because what I want is a little bit of space in between each helmet, just so that the visors aren't banging and everything else like that. I'll figure that out in a minute. I'll just take the average width of each. So what we're going to do is we're going to find our angle. Now, let's just get rid of this one here. What we want, now if you're fortunate enough, like myself here, see if I can do this two-handed, we want to find an angle for our shelf. And that doesn't look too bad. Okay, so that's one way of doing it, and thankfully if you've got some carpenter tools around like I do, that's set. Now if you don't have that, you go down to your local Home Depot and you take a couple of paint sticks. They're usually free, and you're going to sit there and whack a nail in the end here. Boom, 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 and we're going to do the same process. What we are going to do, let's see if we can do this two-handed. Now this probably isn't going to hold as well. Come on. Maybe it'll stay, maybe it won't. I don't know. Okay. Get my fat hand out of there. Jeez, Murphy. There we go. Whatever angle we want to put that at. Let's say about there. Okay. Now with this, we're able to hold it. We can just take that, we'll hold that, and we'll go to transfer it onto a piece of wood. Okay, so we've got our little 2 paint sticks and everything else like that. I've just grabbed a piece of old drywall. You can use anything, basic piece of paper, anything else like that. And what we want to do is, before this all gets messed up, is we just want to figure out that angle. That bad boy, right there. We just put this one on the straight there and anything else we got. Now where is my... Okay, so we grabbed our miter gauge here. And as you can see, when we put it pretty square, it's pretty darn close, and the difference there is with the way we held the helmet. So either method will work, and what we are looking at, single cut, just around 45 degrees. So maybe we'll soften that up, maybe we won't, I don't know. We'll play with it a little bit and see how that goes. But what we do need to do is figure out the width of our helmets, how much space, and do a layout of our shelves. And this will apply whether you're doing 1 helmet, 2 helmets, 3 helmets, or 4 helmets. So I scrounged around and I found a nice old piece of old cedar here. What else we got? It's got a little joint on the front, but it gives us 10 inches. Let's grab a helmet, take a look at that. Okay, so how is that going to sit? I don't know. Jesus, somebody should clean this place up. Okay, so when I look at the helmet, and what I've done is I just put it flush to the back here, there, and everywhere else.
when I take a look at that, that is exactly 10 inches. And that's probably the angle I'm going to go with. The other thing that I've noticed is that this curves downwards. So if I put it on the shelf, it's going to want to rock back a little bit. And what I'm thinking is maybe hanging the chin off the shelf a little bit here. So here on the HJC, again, 10 inches is fine. Okay, so what we need to do now is figure out the width of each helmet, and because we have 4 helmets. Now you can do this several ways. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to put a square up to the side, touch the visor, give myself a mark. Now if you've got a square like this, or if you've got a big one like this, it's really handy. But if you don't, you can just use a chunk of wood, like this even, and just do that. We'll do that. We'll do that. Oops. That way we know the edge of each helmet, and that way we're not slamming into each other. So when we move the helmet to one side, take a look at our marks. There's one there, there's one there. Grab our tape measure. We have 10 and 1/8 inches. So we'll just call it 10 inches for each helmet. I've done a rough estimate of each one. What I have gone and done is, let's start at this end. We'll go to that end. So I've come in 1 inch from the end, just because I don't want my helmet sitting right on the edge. Give myself another 10 inches, the 2-inch spacing, so that's 1 inch each side of the helmet. And again, another and another, and it gives me a 48-inch long board. Oh, let's do this, let's do this. Oh, I hope this is all going on the camera really nice. So just keep in mind, there's a mock-up. You can do what you want to do with yours. Stay, you little bastard. Okay, so see the back of the helmet there? That'll be what, the back of the wall? You look at that and you go, oh yeah, puppy dog. Well, let's start some butchery and figure out some angle. What are we going to use for our angle pieces? Get this all tuned up, get this all tuned up, get them sanded, etc., etc. You know, all the fun, boring stuff that we're just going to zip right through. Okay. Pitter patter, let's get at her.
Okay, while we watch this sanding montage, if you could take a moment to hit that like button, the subscribe button, and even the notification button to help us grow this channel. And the biggest reason for growing this channel is that we want to help those in need. While you know that there's quite a bit of cruelty in this world at times, especially towards animals, there are a few knights in shining armor, both at my local level and international level. And we would like to, if we make any income from this channel, we would like to give a good portion of that to those people to help them in their endeavor. These people, day in and day out, pour their heart out to help those that cannot help themselves. I know there's a lot of crazy humans in this world, and humans sadly do have choices. A lot of animals in need don't have choices. They're put in circumstances that they don't deserve, and often it is at the hand of man. So if you could just help us out a little bit, that would be fantastic, and thank you very much for doing so.
Okay, now that we've got our sanding done, what we're going to do is just knock the edges off of here. Now, if you've got tools like a nice little planer, there's a nice low angle block planer, you can just shave, just kind of put it on the 45-degree angle here, just knock those edges off, make sure they're not so sharp. You can do that. And if you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, I don't have all of these tools, I don't have the ability to, I don't have a random orbital sander, I don't have this, I don't have that. Great news, people. If you go down to Home Depot, you will find pre-made shelves. And they are made out of MDF. They're also made out of strips of wood glued together, and they come, I think, about 11¼ inches. They do cut, so you can have it trimmed down to whatever width. For my project, I've decided 10 inches is going to work for me, but if you decide you want yours a little bit longer, or you've got a wider hallway or something like that, you can do that. If you're down at the Home Depot, they cut the wood for you and everything else like that. You just figure out your dimensions ahead of time. Hopefully this video helps you. What we're going to do is we're going to look at our angles again now that we've got our 2 shelves. And so our original paint sticks that we stuck together and our angle showed us at 45 degrees. Now I'm just going to show you quickly what 45 degrees looks like. Well, hopefully you can see that pretty well. That is a very steep angle that we're going to be putting. Now, if you can't figure out what 30 degrees is, you can just BS it. Okay, so if you don't have an angle finder, you don't have this, you don't have a protractor, you don't have this, just take a flat piece of wood. take your two shelves, and this is gonna represent two shelves here. This is gonna be our block end sort of thing, or your block end, my idea, sorry. Like I said, I'm gonna do something a little bit different. Grab the old trusty pencil. There we go. So that's my angle. Where's my saw? There we go. So once you've determined your angle, you can easily cut this just like that. So it does cut, it is easy. Don't cut yourself, please. Let's see what's in the pile here. We got anything in the pile? Yeah. Okay, let's do. So, this is another idea of mine. You can do whatever you want. So that's approximately 30-degree angle. I'm thinking something like this is going to look kind of nifty. Let's do this. There we go. But again, we just cut our 30-degree angle here. What else I got? And this is what the end is going to look like, or the ends, when we put it together. It'll be a solid piece, and then hopefully you can see that, which is okay to me. To each his own, it doesn't matter. I want this look for mine, so that it's kind of cantilevered, and then I can kind of see through the angle, and then my hangers are going to go down here, and everything else I got. And for me, that's my style.